Do you feel that your life is always weighing only towards one side? Do you feel that you could just tilt and fall deep into the side that you don't want to in life? Welcome to the Alpha Life Project. This is a place where the focus is on all things you, with an agenda of establishing awareness, enabling analysis, and empowering action in your life so that you can also upgrade your life. This is Bala, your fellow Alpha Lifer and host, and it's a wonderful, wonderful time for us to live our Alpha Life. Today I have yet another very interesting topic for introspection. Very, very relevant. Something that keeps happening in our life on a daily basis. The topic is balance. Are you going overboard trying to achieve it? People would go to any extent to bring in balance in their life. This is the way we are all designed. Our DNA is programmed to bring in balance of some sort or the other. History is full of examples where extremes did not survive, and hence the human mind is wired to go for balance at all times. But then, in this quest for balance, people always go overboard. Don't you? Let's dive in. Let's start with a story. I have this friend who used to be very, 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 very punctual in life. Used to be, that is correct. She would reach whichever place she needed to bang on time, absolutely on time. Not only would she reach absolutely on time, but she would also leave absolutely on time. Now you may think that this is a great habit to have, right? And you may feel that you would also want such a habit in your life. But my friend, she ran into more trouble than one could have ever imagined. She was so obsessed with the time that she was running that she was always trying to keep a balance in her life. If she spent X hours outside home, then she would always want to spend the same number of hours in her house. If she worked for Y number of hours, she would want to spend the same amount of time with her loved ones. If she thought that she was contributing Z to a relationship, she expected the same contribution back from the other person as well. This was what was driving her at all times, this balance. You want to know why she ran into more trouble than she ever imagined she would, right? We will continue the story at the end of the podcast. So let's come to balance. Whether you accept it or not, you are obsessed with balance. Absolutely, absolutely obsessed with bringing balance into your life. You do get to know when your life is going out of bounds, and that troubles you a lot. The moment it goes out of balance, it starts troubling you. Something inside you starts shaking up. And when you try to bring balance, you end up upsetting some other balance in life. This cycle, it just seems to keep repeating again and again. We can get into what to do about this, but first let's understand what is this balance all about. Unlike what people think, unlike what you think, balance is not about an equal distribution into each and every option available. It is not about equal measures. The moment we talk about balance, we imagine a pair of scales, and somehow we conjure up this image that both the sides have to be equal. Only then is the balance restored. Usually people think of balance when it comes to work life. So balance is not about equal time at work and equal time at home. The other angle of balance is when people think of relationships and who is contributing how much into that relationship. Could be personal, could be professional, could be any relationship, right? So the general ideology is that there should be equal contribution from each side, each partner at all points of time. Else there is an issue in the relationship, right? That is the one misconception that is hurting people more than it is helping them. Yeah, you heard me right. That is not what balance is all about. We'll come to that soon. Also, people usually end up wishing for no imbalance in life. But get one thing clear, that's never going to happen. As long as there is motion or movement in your life, there will be imbalances. As long as you keep taking some action, you will be part of some equation which will need to be balanced every now and then. So trying to avoid the entire equation in order to seek balance, it could be the dumbest thing that one can try to do. The idea is not to avoid, but to continuously sort it out. Let's take a couple of examples or metaphors to understand this. So, let's say you're baking a cake. In order for you to achieve a balance in that cake, do you put equal measures of every single ingredient? Or, let's say that you're making coffee for it yourself. Do you put every single ingredient in equal measure into that coffee for it to taste good for you? You do not, right? That should give you a perspective on balance and what it is or what it is not. Bring that analogy to work now. Where does the question of equal time at home and equal time at work come from then? There is bound to be a difference, and achieving equals here is impossible. Bring that analogy to relationships. There is bound to be different contribution or different contributions made by different people in the relationship. The balance is not about who contributed how much. Get this right. The balance in all these cases is about the overall equation, whether it is work or relationship or anything else. It could be about the nutrition in your body. It could be about anything. Balance is about how that overall equation is balanced out for that particular time. Some days you may need to spend more time at work and less at home. Maybe that is a balance for that day. Some days you may be able to reverse the equation and that becomes a new balance. Similarly with relationships, some days you may need to contribute more to the relationship and the other person may not be contributing as much and maybe only receiving from you. That becomes the balance of the equation for that particular time. While for some other days, it may reverse completely, wherein you may need to take more and the other person may need to give more. So understand this. At that particular moment, balance is not determined. It is about the overall equation. What does upset the balance of the equation is if it tilts only towards one side for a long period of time. That is, if one person keeps doing the same thing continuously, like continuous late nights at work, or continuously seeking attention in a relationship, or continuously having to give attention in a relationship. If this is how it is going to happen over a period of time, then there is an issue with the balance. So get this, it is only when this equation remains unbalanced for a fairly long time that the balance gets upset. So balance is something that is seen over a period of time and not from moment to moment, not in a particular instant. Understand this. This is very, very critical, very, very crucial to understand the entire element of balance. Time, a large amount of time, is a necessary part of this equation. So it is very important to give the element of time to this equation. Otherwise, everything really gets thrown out of balance for you. Pause for a moment and translate this into your own life. Identify all the areas in your life where you feel things are out of balance right now. Now, remove the microscope, zoom it out, add the element of time, and then see how the equation balance looks like. Bits and pieces of it over a period of time appearing imbalanced is absolutely alright. Only when it looks imbalanced over a fairly longer period of time is when you should start getting worried. Apply this to everything in your life and you will realize that the element of time plays a most important part in all of this. So what to do about this? There are actually only two things that one needs to do about balance, but these are the two things that people refrain from doing always. They just don't do it. Because the real issue is when there is an imbalance, you continue thinking that it will set itself right. Any imbalance in your life is your sole responsibility. No other person is responsible for it. Blaming someone else is not going to do it. No other person can set it right, and only you will need to pay attention to set it right. If you're blaming the imbalance in your life on others, you've got it all wrong. Remember this, underline this. This is the most important part. So now let's come to the things that you can do about imbalance. These are the things that only you can do about the imbalance in your life. The first thing to do is to stop. Sounds funny, right? But if you don't stop, the imbalance will continue. Think about what happens when you are feeling an imbalance while riding a bicycle, let's say. Do you stop or do you go faster? What happens when you start feeling a sense of falling down? Do you continue running? Or do you just stop? Most people would prefer stopping, by the way. Most people would prefer stopping, setting themselves right, and then again starting the ride. The same pause and stop needs to be taken in the area or the areas of your life wherever you sense that there is an imbalance for a long period of time. Relationships, work, health, money, whatever it is. Some people sometimes just accept the imbalance and say that this is how it is going to be. But that only means that you are setting yourself to fall down. The second thing to do is to bring yourself down to the basics, the starting point from where you began and then reached here. You know, in physics, there is a concept called center of gravity. The closer the center of gravity is to the ground, the base, the more stable that object becomes, and it is very difficult to imbalance such an object. Think of it, when you feel dizzy, what do? You sit yourself down first, right? That is you bringing your center of gravity to the base, which is the ground. You can similarly bring yourself back to the basics and rethink and restart from here whenever you start feeling an imbalance in life. You know, once you have done these two, you can actually restart and figure out how the journey was and how it needs to be once again, till the time another imbalance strikes in, which again then can be set right. This will keep happening. The idea is not to just accept it and just keep moving on. The idea is to do something about it. If you continue living in the imbalance, you're only weighing it more and more and more. Think about it. Once again, don't take my word for it. Try these out for yourself. So continuing with the story that I was telling you earlier, the story of my friend. Let's call her Miss Clockwork. You would have realized why she ran into so much trouble, right? Because she was minutely analyzing every single minute and every single hour of every single day to try and create a balance. And she was super rigid about it. She had trouble everywhere she was doing anything. She always thought that she wasn't able to balance it out. And she always felt that other people were constantly upsetting the balance in her life. Eventually, only when she started zooming out and trying to figure out over a longer period of time and not minutely trying to manage it, only then did she realize which were the real areas of imbalance, and she started balancing them out. Contentment, happiness, they come from balance. Only when you balance it out, only then would you get these things in life. Remember that. Now let's watch a movie of your life. Just imagine that you were to continue with all the imbalances in your life right now. What if you were to do this? Keep doing this. How does your life look like going forward for the next few months or the next few years? And if you were to flip it completely, just suppose that you were able to take care of your imbalances. How would your life look like right now? And while you're thinking about all these, also think about who have you become by not being able to bring the right balance in your life. And who could you possibly become if you were to bring in this perfect balance? Who have you become by continuing to remain in this imbalanced state for the longest time? Why is this balance so important for you? How would you like to bring in a healthy balance in your life, and what steps would you like to take right away? You see, balance is not an issue in itself. It is the understanding of this balance and the way one runs behind it that becomes the issue. Or sometimes the way one does not sort it out that becomes the issue. You need to balance it out for yourself. Thank you for listening in. If you like to all the thoughts that are being shared here, please pay it forward by sharing it with people in your tribe, in your group, in your family. This could be one of the ways in which you could contribute to their life. Once again, welcome to your Alpha Life project.